So welcome back to Newcastle Central. This is going to be a little bit of a jumble of a video as we try and detail how I've built not one but two platforms. This is actually Mark II. We'll see throughout the video what happened to the first iteration of this. It's all a learning curve, literally a curve because of these curved platforms. There is a reason why you don't see many YouTube videos and forum posts and just layouts in general that have curved platforms and all of these curved, all this curved track running through stations. It is not particularly easy, so I wanted to try and detail some of my findings. Hopefully it'll help people out in the future if they're attempting something similar. This is probably going to be a long one. There'll probably be a second part to this as well. And this is just the first platform. I have many, many more platforms to go, so don't worry. I'm sure that I'll refine this, and almost everything that you're going to see here will end up being superseded by something else. But sit back, hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. So this is first platform that I'm starting to mark out right now. And if we look underneath, what I actually did was run one of these Mark IV coaches. This will be the longest coach they have. And so Skelsine's directions was that on the outside of a curve, mark with a pen right on this front corner, and the angle's a little weird, but it is correct. You then move around that coach and mark on the outside of the corner. On the inside radius, so on those back ones, you then put a pen in the middle, a pencil in the middle, and do the same thing, run a pencil all the way around the middle. So what I have all the way around is then the thick outer line marked around. I then had hash marks just to show. And we're doing so you can see the second platform that will be coming in there as well. So I marked this out and then put a paper template over the top, trim those, cut those to length, and what I'll now do is transfer those onto some 2mm cardstock. That'll then form the base of the platform, and then I'll actually build the platform walls, the structural pieces that go across, and then the actual platform itself. The reason why I'm doing this base rather than putting it straight onto the actual baseboard is that this is going to end up being a very, very large station area. And what I need to be able to do is to lift these off. Because this baseboard ended up being a lot longer, so if you go back and watch the very, very first video, I think is where I talk about doing all the bench work and the baseboards. I can't actually reach. That's about as far as I can go, and I'm fairly tall. So I kind of swivel up onto here and then lean over, and I can reach all that back part, but what I'll end up doing is actually working from the back forward. But I need to be able to, just for the regular maintenance, if I want to then do any kind of track cleaning work, when it comes to actually ballasting all the track and stuff, if I've got a platform here, for example, and it's raised up to the height of the platform, and I then need to start ballasting this, it's like, well, how am I going to get an airbrush around to be able to do that correctly? So I've seen a couple of other channels that I follow where they followed a very similar pattern to this. I don't know if they ended up with the cardboard bases or not. The only reason why I'm having to do this is because my platforms are curved. So if you had straight platforms, you might need to worry about this. You may just be able to measure out what the length of your platforms would be, cut the platform side pieces, and then do the structural supports. And then you'll be able to actually make it almost just on the bench itself, and then just lay flat, and you'll pretty much be there. You're not having to figure out radius and things like that. Because every single one of my platforms is curved, I am going to have to go through and do this. So this is a first attempt, so we'll actually see. We may well find out that this is not the right approach, but well, live and learn. I want to record it, and then you can all learn if this was not the right way to do it. So I'm going to go and now transfer these paper templates onto actual 2mm card, and then try and attach those together so I've got somewhat one large piece. Probably then raise that up to about the height of what one of these coaches would actually be, and then I'll just run it around and make sure that it's fine. As long as I've got it trimmed correctly, I've then got a perfect base that will match what the ready curves need to be for those coaches, and then from there I can do the platform side structural pieces. Piece on top, whole thing will then be able to lift off, so I can do cleaning, I can do the maintenance, if I'm going to be running wires through for lighting and all that kind of fun stuff. So transfer this over to card and I'll be right back. Here is then the card base in place. So what I did was transfer the paper templates that I had cut out onto the 2mm cardstock, cut that out, laid it down, trimmed it ever so slightly, seemed like it would fit, and then I would just tape those in place for now. What I'll end up doing is probably running supports kind of lengthways along some of those, maybe just to kind of hold it in place, because as you would pick it up right now, just because it's so long, it is kind of flimsy. I think once I would have the platform edges on, the structural supports in place, like that'll actually give it strength, and then the top pieces I'll make sure I overlap, so as I would lay the platform topped, you know, I'd have one piece that starts here and runs across to there, and then another piece that runs like that, so I've got some kind of strength that I'm not lining up the platform joints with the actual base joints, that kind of thing. I probably do need to make it a little bit stronger just as I'm moving it in and out for now, but I think certainly at least with the platform edges on, that'll help. So what I'm going to try and do now is raise this up to about the height of one of these passenger coaches, and then try it out and make sure that I've got enough clearance, and if that looks good, then I'll be able to move on to actually doing those platform sides. So be right back. This is that cardboard platform now resting on top of some wooden blocks that I had. This is actually stuff that I had for the kids' wooden train table that has shown up in some of the videos before. So this is raised up, so it's not perfectly level. It's a little uneven there in the middle, but it does somewhat raise it up to about the height that I need. And as I would move this around backwards and forwards on both sides, that does actually work out really good. So I do know that the Skelscenes template that I had, the platform edges pre-sized at, I believe it was 28mm. I could be wrong there, so don't quote me on that. I believe it's 28mm, which is the height if you were from the actual baseboard up to scale height for platform height to meet where you would then step in through the door on the coaches. Because I have this foam track bed on everything, which I'm not regretting, but it was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. I'm not really sure it's done all that much sound deadening that I was really hoping for. It wasn't expensive, but it was kind of fiddly to do, and then it means that, you know, my track is now kind of stuck. I can't just take out track pins and reposition track, but anyway, that's by the by. I think this is 1/4 inch, so what it means is I've now got 1/4 inch plus the height of what the Skelscenes template would be, which would be 20mm. So I'm going to have to do quite a bit of extra measuring and cutting here to be able to do the platform sides. But you know, the good news is that this idea does work for you know, marking it out, doing the paper templates, transferring it to the card templates. That does end up being correct. So now I can start to do the platform sides. It'll do the same process for that platform back there on the large platforms. The back I haven't done because this is largely all going to be one piece, so kind of straight up there and then around the back. This is all platform. There's a little platform that runs between the middle. That back part is platform, and then there's some shops coming in here. This is where the bridge would come over. Probably small shops along the back, platforms coming in here, and then you probably end over there and you go into a car park. So this would probably need to be, I might end up being 2 pieces. So I'm starting on one platform, and then I'll move on to that second one just to make sure that my process is correct. This little part here, it is actually a little bit bigger of a gap than that in real life. It actually comes further down. There's more of a gap there. That's where they would have, I believe it was cleaning tanks and water lines, so you'll be able to, well, actually at the time they were probably dumping on track even, but you could remove waste from the coach lavatories. You could then refresh potable water and so all the way down here was kind of that kind of maintenance stuff that they would sometimes hook the coaches up to. So I am going to somewhat model that down there. So it's not actually platform. That would just be ballasted, and then some of that maintenance equipment in there. But anyway, this one works here, so now I can move on and try doing those platform edges and see how that works. So for you, it'll probably be back in a few seconds. I'm probably going to take a little bit of break. It's getting a little bit late at night and it's starting to get cold here. But anyway, I'll be back real soon. Okay, so thanks for the wonder of YouTube video. We've moved forward quite a while now. I wasn't doing video along the way because this was the first platform that I was making, and I was a little concerned as to where we were going. You may also notice, if you look really carefully, that this one is a mess. The reason is I had to actually start cutting all of this apart. So when I was building this, I was building it inside, and it was raining quite a bit, so I couldn't keep going in and out of the house, back out to the train shed. And so what we've ended up with is a platform that was a little bit too big. So the paper templates that I had done on the bottom, I had then transferred it onto these ones on the bottom. And I thought that I had done so with enough clearance so that when I would then actually put the platforms in place, that you would have this brick edging work, and then you would have platform overhang, and I thought I had done it sufficiently so that the trans would still clear it. That was not the case. As you can see, I've had to trim this all the way back to the platform edging, and there's still, unfortunately, a few spots where the trains don't clear it. So this is one of my Mark IV coaches, and right there, it still catches ever so slightly. And I've trimmed it back as much as I can. I really want the overhang. I really don't like how that looks. I didn't unfortunately get a video before I started hacking this apart because I was very, very frustrated with how it was looking, and it's now set out here, and so it's all started to kind of peel and bubble away because I didn't seal it or anything like that. But live and learn. So now I know that when I do those paper templates, what I'm really marking out is paper template for the platform top. And I was also a little confused in terms of, okay, how am I going to do this, because I can't just measure out, so I needed some way to be able to try and do a base and try and do the supports inside. So what I'm probably actually going to do now is just take this back inside and transfer the top dimensions on the new pieces of card. That'll then become my actual top platform. I'll then put the side pieces on, and this base probably then won't exist. I'm thinking that this base won't exist. It will be the side pieces. I can then do the edging, and then that top piece is what's going to mark around. Like I said, it was a good learning experience. It went a lot slower than I thought it was going to go, because it was my first time trying to figure out exactly how you do the edging, and then how you do this the actual platform edging itself with the white line, and you can't see. Also found that I'm probably not going to end up using this top. I really like the effect of it, but the problem that you can see is just the transitions between them. So here I was trying cutting out different patches all around, and this is where you can see it hasn't sealed at all, so it's all starting to bubble away as it's gotten colder on an evening. It's come apart. But I had tried trying to do different patches to see how it would go. So I'm not sold on this, on the top of this. I think the rest of it is probably pretty good. I do actually really like how that worked out on the side. Again, it wasn't perfect by any means, but a first attempt, not going over a Mark IV, first attempt anyway, at putting one of these together. And height wise I ended up exactly right. Try and put that back. If we come down low, height wise I was pretty much right there in terms of where I needed to be for the coaches. And so I've got some of the older Mark 1s, and I've run the Mark III coaches alongside of it as well. And so I think overall, this has ended up pretty good. This is, about what I was going for. I just got the dimensions completely wrong. In a way, like I say, I'm kind of glad, because this isn't the top that I really want to have on here. So even if I had got the dimensions all right, I would probably then have pulled the whole thing back up. A couple of other things that I kind of realized was really kind of regretting putting down this foam underlay. I don't really have any kind of wiggle room on the track. I mean, I probably could very, very gently get underneath it and move the track ever so slightly. I had thought about doing that, but part of the problem is that a lot of these are, so there is a lot of flex track. So for example, this is all flex track here, so I could move that. But if we come into some of the point work, so I've got electrofrog points. This is then, I don't know what that is. That's a fixed radius curve coming to another point works. And so this right here is where the couch was rubbing along the side of the platform. So I can't really shuffle that too much because then the fixed radius curve goes out of alignment. And actually I have been trying to push, and that's where it's kind of jumped out the fish plate. I have been trying to ease it out. So I don't know if it really would have made that much difference if I just had a cork road bed and these are just kind of tacked in place, but with it being glued onto the foam, that's it, it's fixed. Like I said, the kind of flip side of that is I don't really know if I want to move it, because the whole point of Newcastle is that you have these curved tracks, and it took me quite a while to get all of those curves right. So I wouldn't really want to then start trying to shuffle them, millimeter or 2 millimeters either way, all the way around. I think it would kind of ruin it. What I really need to do is just basically get better in cutting curved pieces of card to the right dimensions. So I'm going to go back and try a second attempt here, see how far I get, because it's been quite a while since the last video, because this took me a while to put together. I've then just kind of brooded on this for a week or so, but I'm then going out of town and I've been pretty busy with work, so I wanted to try and get something done. So I'm going to go back and try and build another one. I don't know if I'm going to get all of the paper done, because I need to figure out what to do on the top. I mean, at least have the side, but hopefully we'll come back with something that looks a little bit more like an actual platform that fits, that coaches will quite happily go by, and we can see some trends moving on this platform. So at least for you, I will be right back. Okay, so it's next night. It's considerably colder out here in the train shed, so I definitely think I need to start looking at a little bit of insulation in here. It's the end of October and I'm already starting to see my breath as I'm trying to talk into the camera, but ignore a little bit of the mess around here. But we do now have platform somewhat shaped out. And so now we can quite happily roll one of these Mark IVs along without binding. And if we can switch this over to the other track, because I wasn't prepared enough to have one already over there for us. If I can get this on the rails correctly. And so this one should hopefully run all the way around without binding as well. So I do still need to put on the end pieces there and trim in there where you can see my lines, and do the same on that other end. Underneath, just so you can see some of the construction, and again, this hasn't been cleaned up at all. I also haven't done any of the internal supports there, but this is how the platform looks underneath. So these are just, actually I'm probably going to need to take this one out and move it in a little bit, because I want to make sure that I have that lip running all the way around. So I think I'm okay there, but on this far side, yeah, I've kind of lost it down there, so I need to move it in just a little bit. Again, wasn't perfect. I was just trying to figure out the shape of it, and the problem I had the first time was when I had the card template and I braised it up, I didn't quite get it in the right spot, so I must end up taking this one apart and just using those as one final template. But this is how the inside will look, whether I keep this one or whether I start from scratch, now that I've got this top part exactly curved as I need it. So I don't know if I mentioned in previous videos, this is just a Scale Scenes kit. It's I think it was like £3, $4 or $5. You purchase it online, print it out. I don't have any of the printed paper parts, because at this point I kind of know what I'm doing in terms of cutting and measuring for the cardboard, and I'll then wrap the paper over the top of it. And so the idea is that you'll have one card platform top, or upside down, card platform top, you then have the platform sides, and you have the card support structures through the middle. This is all 2mm cardstock. And that's pretty much it. There's not much to it. I'm using a hot glue gun just because it makes it a lot quicker. The way they actually recommend doing it is that you would run a bead of glue on the inside, and then you put these side pieces on there, hold it upright, and in place with either blue tack or a little track pin, something like that, just to hold the shape of it. I think I said in one of the first videos, but I've got so many little video clips that by the time I put this together, I don't know if I'll end up keeping it. I don't want to attach it straight onto here, just because I have so much to do that I'm starting out here so I can figure out what to do, but eventually all of that is going to be platform as well, and I need to be able to lean over or probably even climb onto the actual baseboard a little bit. But also when it comes to then doing things like getting some of the weathering of the track in place, I want to be able to lift up, move it out the way. When I then do the ballasting especially, that's when I want to be able to lift up and move those out the way, just because you're spraying water over the top of the ballast and using a very water-based glue. I don't want any water to get onto the card. Even though you then spray it with what's essentially a clear matte varnish, just to protect the cardboard. I don't want to have any chance of it getting damaged from water when I do the ballasting, or to make it difficult when I'm trying to do weathering and then end up getting spray or weathering powders onto the platform edging where I don't want it. I want to be able to control that. So I need to be able to lift all of this out of the way as I go along. So that's probably also what's making this a little bit harder really than it should be. Again, that's just a byproduct of the design that I have, the space for the layout that I have. I obviously can't get around the back of that because I'm running around the outside of the shed, so there's no way that I can really do that. But I think I'm pretty close here now. I'm probably going to go in and tidy this up, bring it out one more time, and make sure that we fit, and do more of those internal supports if I keep this one or if I start out. So hopefully we'll be right back with a platform in place. I won't have the paper on it. I'll probably save that for another video because it's starting to get long. And then we'll see if we can get a couple of trends running by just to make sure that all the clearances are good. One other last thing. This is just a regular X-Acto knife, nothing special about it, and buy lots of sharp blades for these. They're only like 2 or 3 pounds to get a pack of half a dozen blades, and change them out frequently when you're cutting a lot of card like this. In fact, buy a set of blades and then buy another set of blades, because you will go through them very, very quickly. And the reason why I say change it out when it starts to get a little dull is because if you start to apply pressure, you may have seen this little awesome Star Wars band-aid that my kid helped pick me out. If you apply too much pressure and the X-Acto knife jumps off, what you end up doing is actually cutting half of your fingernail off and cutting into the top of your finger, which is a stupid thing to do. So don't do a stupid thing. Buy a set of blades and then buy another set of blades, and make sure that you use sharp blades all the time so that you don't end up causing yourself an awful lot of pain. Anyway, we'll be right back, hopefully, with this platform somewhat cleaned up, ready to go. Try and get a train or two running, and we'll wrap things up for now. Okay, so here we are with one complete cardboard platform in place. I might need to move some of these trains out of the way, or at least one of these trains out of the way. Excuse the odd coach formation here. This is just so that I could figure out putting some trains in place and start to move them around a little bit. This is obviously not at all how these should be. I'm actually going to be running 6+2 racks on all of my HSTs. I do have all of the coaches for this, although I am missing one of these shorty Mark IIIs. Restaurant carriage, buffet coach rather, for those shorty Mark IIIs, but I've got enough to do 6+2s for my other HSTs. This is just, like I say, figuring out how I'm going to do this. Platform is not designed to take the HSTs at all. That would actually be the platform in here and then there, and I'm totally blanking on what those numbers are at the moment. So it should be 2, 3, and 4. Just had a quick look at the panel, which should have all of the numbering on those. So yeah, quite happy with how they are. Let's see if I can just move that swallow out the way. I had to move off out the way, and you can see it go. Does not like the cold. I don't like the cold. You can see that my breath is really coming through right now, so I do need to figure something out in here, because some of these are not like the cold all that much. Yeah, so it's worked out pretty good. I do still need to do all the actual covering. So I'm going to take this back inside because I don't want to leave this out here in the down, but come down. Quite happy with how that has ended up. This ended up just ever so slightly shorter, maybe just by 1 or 2 millimeters than I was really going for, but I think it's pretty okay. Those shorty coaches are a little bit odd. When it's the more modern Mark III and Mark IV coaches, they actually work out pretty good. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with how this is going. Like I said, this has been a long time since I put a video together now. It's been a good 4 or 5 weeks, having built one platform, torn it apart, kind of kicked myself a little bit, and then had to come back and now make a second attempt on this. You can see just locos and coaches piled up everywhere. Almost ashamed to turn around and see what on earth is going on here. I've got class 91s that are torn apart and DVT all the way down there. I've then got on the BR Blue HSTs with a full 6+2 rig. Even the class 58 just kind of hanging out over there. Too many soda cans, probably too many candy bar rabbits hanging around. Need to get a grip in here. But I'm going to run little clips of trends now, just so you can see moving in and out of the platform. And I'll be back hopefully in a week or two with this platform all finished out, with the actual covering over it. Also gives me a little bit of time to figure out, what I'm going to do on the top here. When I end up printing them out, it'll end up being a little bit odd, so I may look at doing some kind of just filler across the top and then just painting that so I can weather it a little bit. I might even go with the scale scenes topper. I think Metcalf maybe had tops as well. I'll check on those too. So I'll figure something out, and hopefully I'll be back really soon. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy these little trends running. Do subscribe, follow along as the build progresses. It's been really cool. I've had a bit of an explosion in the subscribers. Yes, that's been really cool over the last week or two. Well over 100 subscribers now, so very thankful to everyone that is following along. And those are the commenting as well. That really helps keep me motivated. That's part of why I want to get this video out, just to show people that I haven't disappeared. That's my dog Keen. I hang out in the back. It's getting rather late for him. I think he's trying to figure out how he can get inside here. It's probably too cold for him as well, poor guy. So thanks for watching. We'll be back soon. Take care.